unless you're a very paranoid person and you think, I think everybody's a werewolf.
This is actively an unusable feature. This shouldn't exist. This is baffling. I want to know who playtested this. Give me names.
Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today is another Martial Monday. Got it. Today we're going to be covering the Rogue subclass Inquisitive. Intriguing.
Yes, this is from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. It says, as an archetypal Inquisitive, you excel at rooting out secrets and unraveling mysteries. I get the premise of this. I don't think they stuck the landing on it.
No.
It is pretty booty, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
This is not an option I'm particularly thrilled exists. I know a lot of people like and want to play this kind of rogue. And this, I just tell them to play an Arcane Trickster because it gives you things, and this, like, the things this gives you don't suit necessarily well to playing Dungeons and Dragons. Unfortunately, the Sherlock kind of archetype doesn't always get to fit in great at most adventuring tables. And that's what these features kind of give you benefits to, but I guess we'll just touch on it as we go through them, huh?
If you want to play a detective, I mean, there's, be a spellcaster. There's spells that do these things so much better.
Yeah, there's a recent Magic the Gathering that just came out. It's called Murders of Karlov Manor, and the whole set is themed around mysteries, right? It's the murder mystery set, if you will. And the point that I wanted to make about it is the detectives of this world routinely need to use magic and are inherently spellcasters because that's the realm of the game, is a high magic, big nonsense setting. You don't get to just be a Sherlock Holmes without having eidetic memory that creates this big physical manifestations of a memory palace that you can walk through and observe and reenact scenes of crime. You can't bring back the dead to interrogate them in a world full of spirits. You're at a major disadvantage to the average cleric. And, like, this doesn't get any of that. I think this would benefit majorly from being a third caster, but all rogue archetypes would. So,
Also, like, if you want to, I appreciate people that want to, or DMs that want to run games with big mysteries and players that want to solve them, but I don't think you need a subclass for that. Hey, that's up to the player to pay attention to the details and seek out the clues and figure out the mysteries.
Yeah, and it's also like I wouldn't expect an entire campaign to be a murder mystery. I would expect some parts of a campaign, like in Curse of Strahd, I'd expect there to be a mysterious death that you have to figure out the solution to, right? And follow some clues and stuff. I don't expect all of Curse of Strahd to be doing that. I expect a lot of it to be monster hunting and other average adventuring things, and this doesn't really necessarily help with that. In any case, we're talking about a lot of vagueness. Let's dive in. First level.
We're going to continue to talk about a lot of vagueness.
That's fair. So our third level features, you get 3 of them, which sounds like a lot. Then you read them and you're like, oh, maybe not. So you start with Ear for Deceit. When you choose to start type at 3rd level, you develop a keen ear for picking out lies. Whenever you make a Wisdom Insight check to determine whether a creature is lying, treat any roll of 7 or lower on the d20 as an 8. This does mean you just stop failing insight checks. Insight is a fine
with regard
skill.
to lying specifically.
Yeah, that's 90% of what Insight I find does. Yeah. It is a thing that I'd expect to happen maybe once in a social encounter, and that isn't given. And social encounters also aren't an every adventure kind of thing. They're often part of adventures, but not like the predominant big portion of them. So you would really want this to be in a lot of like espionage intrigue style games, and there it could be fine, especially along like an Eloquence Bard where you're doing a lot of charisma skills. This isn't the worst starting feature. In fact, it's probably the best starting feature. That's not a great place to be.
No.
If this were alongside a real feature, I'd be like, okay, I get it. It's not. So Eye for Detail is the next 3rd level feature you get. You can use a bonus action to make a Wisdom Perception check to spot a hidden creature or object, or to make an Intelligence Investigation check to uncover or decipher clues. If it didn't say to uncover or decipher clues, I'd be a lot less bummed out, but I'd still not be that happy with it. Bonus action to make a Wisdom Perception check to spot a hidden creature or object is something a lot of DMs just do. I know a lot of the game if you're dealing with invisible creatures, your DM will have you make perception checks or just use your passive perception to determine if they see things, and that usually isn't tied to actions, even whenever it's being played rules as written. It makes me go like, do I want another chance to beat my passive perception to see a creature that I currently don't see? And the answer is usually no. Usually I want to use steady aim and shoot something in the face or hide. And that leaves eye for detail being nebulous and infrequently going to be valuable.
I mean, the only reason I could see taking the subclass is because you're going into heavy mystery campaign. The one thing it could do for you, the one advantage it could give you is all right, so I want to make an investigation check to look for clues. If you pass that, and the DM says, you find a red ribbon, and like you do know that's a clue. But,
I mean, that the terms are vague, and like your DM is not going to have specifically. I as a DM, having run mysteries, haven't been like, this is my list of clues. Normally, it's this is the information that I need to get to
Yeah.
them, and then I will, as they're exploring the world and passing very obvious hints I'm giving them, I will make progressively more and more obvious hints to point towards the direction they're going. Right? They might find some broken glass, and I'll be like, oh, there's glass shattered in on the seat. They'll miss that word. The idea being something broke in, not out,
Right.
and then you can slowly drip feed them a little bit more and more and more. I don't necessarily think someone's gonna be like, this is the clue. You notice the clue.
Well, that's the only credit I can give this. So I was trying to salvage something.
In combat, wisdom perception check to spot a hidden creature comes up.
Is that a clue?
So it is to spot a hidden creature or object, or to make an intelligence investigation check to uncover or decipher clues.
Oh, yep. Sorry, I missed that first part.
So it's either a perception check to spot hidden creatures or an investigation check to decipher clues.
Yeah. All right, that's not nothing.
It's not nothing. Most of the time, it is at most. It has this awkward part. Oh god, it's so awkward. So like, creatures that you are in combat with usually aren't hidden for very long. Normally, they're shoot you, then you're shooting them back. Generally speaking, and that makes it so like you would not need a bonus action to spot them unless they were already noted to you and trying to kill you, or they're dipping in and out of cover. And dipping in and out of cover, I don't think is a very like that's a player driven thing more than a monster driven thing, and that's where I'm like, against invisible creatures, this has some text, maybe, but even then, your passive wisdom is going to be doing most of the heavy lifting. You can put expertise in that. I don't think you need eye for detail.
All right. Well, what else do we get?
This last feature is actually not a feature. It's called insightful fighting. So at third level, you get the ability to decipher an object's tactics and develop a counter to them. As a bonus action, you make a wisdom insight check, which is at a floor of 7, against a creature you can. Oh, never mind. This has nothing to do with lying. Yeah, never mind. What? You make a wisdom insight check that doesn't get to be a flat 7 because there's nothing to do with their lying or not.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You can't see that isn't incapacitating. So you make a wisdom insight check contested by the target's deception check. If you succeed, you can use your sneak attack against the target even if you don't have advantage on the attack roll, but not if you have disadvantage on it. It lasts a minute until you target a different thing. Steady aim was printed in Xandar's Guide or in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. You don't need this anymore. This doesn't need to exist. Goodbye. Throw it out of your character sheet. You can hide already. You can steady aim already. Hot trash.
Also, I mean, if you're a rogue, you're looking for ways to get advantage.
Yeah, or just having somebody next to the thing you want to shoot. Rogue is like fundamentally the most cooperative class, just by the nature of its core mechanics, ask you to cooperate. You will not have problems getting sneak attack. Insightful fighting doesn't need to exist.
No.
It is a waste of your bonus action.
Yeah, not thrilled at my third level features, and then we don't get anything else until level 9. It
actually just gets worse. So you get steady eye. At 9th level, you get advantage on wisdom perception checks or intelligence investigation checks you make if you move no more than half your speed on the same turn. The help action does this.
Also, I don't care.
This is a nice boon where, we're going to go slowly, so I have a boon to my passive perception. Okay. No, this is not 90. I would say most tables will not benefit from steady eye whatsoever. Again, just because the help action exists in the space where it will likely be used. 13th level, we have another eye feature. We have a Nuring Eye. At 13th level, your senses are almost impossible to foil. As an action, you sense the presence of illusions, shape changers not in their original form, and other magic designed to deceive the senses within 30 feet of you, provided you aren't blind or deafened. You sense that an effect is attempting to trick you, but you gain no insight into what is hidden or into its true nature. Need I read on? Because they made it worse. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, and you gain all uses when you finish a long rest.
Yep, they thought,
Are
well,
you
this is this
joking
is
me?
this is pretty powerful. We better dial it back.
This is almost detect magic. Can't be that good. Really?
Oh man. I mean, like this has
This,
uses, but nothing. It's nothing I care
no,
about at 13th level.
Bob.
No.
This is a thinly veiled disguise for fine traps. Think about it. Think about and engage when you would use this, right? If you don't know something is trying to trick you, you don't use this.
All
If
right,
you
because
know
this
something's going to
uses an
trick you,
action. All right, never mind, never mind, never mind.
yeah, this isn't a
All right,
passive
no,
sense.
okay,
You have to
okay,
actively choose to use this.
okay. I take it back. This has no use.
So again, it is identical to fine traps in that I know there's traps here, don't know what they are. This is I know there's illusions, shape changers, or magic that is obfuscating something, but I don't know what it is.
Unless you're a very paranoid person and you think, I think everybody's a werewolf.
This is actively an unusable feature. This shouldn't exist. This is baffling. I want to know who playtested this. Give me names. Take away their D&D playtest license. Finally, we have 70 level Eye for weakness. At 17 level, you learn to exploit a creature's weakness by carefully studying its tactics and movements. While your insightful fighting feature applies to a creature, your sneak attack damage against it increases by 3d6. You have now gained a reason to use insightful fighting. Huzzah! At 17th level, 3d6 whole damage, huh?
This is man, I guess it's not the worst subclass in the game that we've covered, but yeah, because Berserker, but
Eye for Deceit
it's
and
rough.
Eye for Detail are two features you will use. You won't use them often, and they won't always be great, but at least I can say you will use them. After that,
this is not a subclass.
yeah, it's pretty bad. Steady Eye is, again, at the really grindy delving through dungeons tables where you aren't, like, two people aren't keeping watch to get the help. This lets one extra person have their dungeon delving activity sort of open if you don't, again, want to use the help action for that. Maybe that's something at a handful of tables. I think at an average big set piece encounter, high fantasy adventure, this is close to useless. I would give this a fat F.
Oh yeah, definitely F. I mean, the question is F or F minus. I'm leaning toward it, F minus, but no, F is enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually hurt you.
There are a lot of little features here that disguise themselves as being good. I think Ear for Deceit is the most among them as like I get with this expertise, my insight base all of a sudden becomes like a 20. That's fine. Insight has a very limited amount of use. Persuasion, where with something like Silver Tongue, that is useful because you have the agency of deciding when you want to persuade.
Right.
You need things to lie to you for Ear for Deceit to start doing anything.
Yeah.
And that just Zone of Truth can cover that if that's a really big issue. And that's a second level spell. So and we're not high on Zone of Truth. So this Ear for Deceit could be a great flavorful feature on this kind of archetype, but it needed anything else. And Ear for Deceit or Eye for Detail isn't really going to come up in the vast majority of encounters, and Insightful Fighting is an actively trash trap feature that you're better off using Steady Aim over until you're level 17.
I still feel like most of the time you're not even going to need steady aim. You're just going to know you're going to have
that is
mechanisms in place
absolutely
to get
true.
your sneak attack.
You have to be cooperating, and then you will have your sneak attack working.
All right, yeah, big fat F. Very little redeeming here. Not a subclass. Disappointment. I mean, you know me. I love rogues. Don't love this one.
I have seen people play this option as rogues.
Have you? Wow.
Yes. And it was within 3 sessions they asked if they could pick a new subclass. Yeah. They're like, oh, can't do anything with any of this. Oh, I used my insightful fighting and nothing changed.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Inquisitive Rogue.
How much if you've had a good experience with it, let us know.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.